both of chairs forward chair. Okay, and your way of sitting, everything will be perfect. And then check one's order. National anthem, madam will announce. Indrani madam will announce about national anthem. No need to tell you. Okay, Amma. After that, you have to move from there. Enough.
Madam, koncham.
Check one's order. What do you want?
Deputy Prime Minister Amit Shah ఎక్కడ ఉన్నారు?
అది పక్కన
ఏ క్లాస్ నుండి? ఎన్ని క్లాస్ నుండి? ఫోర్త్ నుండి. ఎక్కడ రావాలి?
All to the mock parliament. I find immense pleasure in introducing our honorable chief guest, Mr. Undavali Arun Kumar sir. The presence of such a personality in our school mock parliament is a blessing, and also thank you sir for accepting to grace this event. Now I would like to give a few words about our delighted chief guest, Mr. Undavali Arun Kumar sir. Mr. Sir is a public speaker, lawyer, political analyst and former member of the Parliament of India. He was elected to the 14th Lok Sabha. He was a member of the Indian National Congress Party till 2014. He was born in Rajahmundry, East Godavari district, Andhra Pradesh. His father, Shri Undavali Venkat Subbarao, had a timber business and was the founder president of the Rajahmundry Chamber of Commerce in the year of 1944. His mother, Srimati Undavali Lakshmi, was the founder secretary of Guild of Service and Indian Red Cross Society, Rajahmundry branch. He earned his bachelor's degree in commerce, BCom, from Government College, Rajahmundry, and also obtained a bachelor's degree in law, LLB, from C.R. Reddy Law College, Eluru. So, a few achievements from him. Mr. Arun Kumar sir participated in 1972 Jayandhra movement as a student. He runs a weekly publication, Evaram Janavarta, that covers contemporary political issues. Arun Kumar sir is well known for his translation expertise and is a very good orator and can deliver the exact message to the public. He acted as a translator for Congress Party President Sonia Gandhi and her son Rahul Gandhi whenever they had to address the people of Andhra Pradesh. He was a member of Congress Working Committee. Mr. Arun Kumar sir was known for his public speaking abilities, and in 1983 he was noticed by then President Andhra Pradesh Congress Committee Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy. With the encouragement and support from Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy in 2004 and 2009, he won the Lok Sabha elections from Rajahmundry. In 2009, he won against two prominent film actors, Telugu Desam Party candidate Mr. Murali Mohan, the richest actor, and Prajarajyam Party candidate Mr. U.V. Krishnam Raju, the most popular actor in Andhra Pradesh, and has a great influence in Rajahmundry, Andhra Pradesh. He held various positions as a member of different parliament committees. Scenario in the Indian Parliament 2014 during the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh state, in which his party Indian National Congress did not listen to his concern about the future of the state, and moreover the absence of Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy step down from election politics forever. Protest to demand the implementation of AP Reorganization Act 2014. After the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh state, the government had central was charges with BJP, and at the state it was taken by over TDP. Both TDP and BJP allied during elections and were of least concern in implementing the AP Reorganization Act 2014 and construction of Polavaram project. Vexed with the group politics, Mr. Undavalli Arun Kumar sir started writing letters to both the governments for explanation and has been demanding for open discussion regarding the same through various platforms and press meets. On behalf of Phoenix, we welcome sir. Thank you for your time to join today's Phoenix Mock Parliament.
Thank you.
We now request our Honorable Executive Head Teacher to address the Mock Parliament.
Honorable guests and dear Phoenicians, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all the Phoenix Mock Parliament. Young people are future of the nation. Has become a child for a history books. Young people and the children are the present of the nation, and Phoenix recognizes this while being a platform of school students to put their views forward, exchange ideas, collaborate to find solutions to the problems which we face at a community level and that of the nation. Phoenix has been working to initiate SDG action and awareness and together. We look forward to welcoming you to put your opinion forward and get into the shoes and seats of the policy and decision makers of the country to find solutions to the problems which country, community is facing today. Which children gathering to be leaders together, Phoenix Mock Parliament will surely be an exciting place for new, creative ideas filled with the energy of youth and fresh motivation to create grassroots impact. Looking forward to your active participation at Phoenix Mock Parliament 2022-23 and knowing your ideas and thoughts about problems that we face and how we can solve them. As an executive head teacher of Phoenix, I feel proud to be a part of Phoenix Mock Parliament. I wish all the best. Thank you all.
Respected guests and our my dear Phoenicians, as a head teacher of the Phoenix, I am humbled and excited to host you all to the Phoenix Mock Parliament. Phoenix Mock Parliament is an exciting opportunity for young leaders to debate the most pressing issues of the day and to draw innovative, creative solutions. Participants will develop several skills throughout this process, including but not limited public speaking, negotiation, teamwork, leadership, and policy crafting. We have very carefully created these issues for the discussion in the Phoenix Mock Parliament after consultation and referring with number of documents. True to the spirit of the Indian Parliament, Phoenix Mock Parliament strives to foster to constructive forum for open dialogue on a range of complex issues including gender inequality and economic and social progress and passing bill on national education policy. It is very important to come together and discuss issues in order to find solutions to the problems which communities and country face. Our world is moving to a critical juncture where challenges like climate change threatens the existence of planets, issues like gender discrimination and inequalities mark the humanity for its values to provide an equal and comfortable living to all the humans who do well on our planet. This mock parliament is an attempt of our team to get young minds together to enable you to shape a better community with a global perspective while developing friendship which will only strengthen and grow with time. I am sure that all our colleagues are equally excited as I am to host you all and ensure that you have a warm, comfortable and unforgettable experience while you debate the issues which our country faces. While you are a young parliamentarian today, this can be stepping stone to forwards a path of social awareness, empathy and leadership. And I certainly wish you to all see you all speaking on our behalf as our representative at the Parliament of India around the world. We ask delegates to think critically about the world around them and to think in a new and ambitious way. What is the purpose of Indian Parliament and what can they achieve? How do we balance state interests to ensure that those with power it is responsibly? What can you young people to do to affect change in their own communities and in the India at large? Respected Mundavalli Arun Kumar sir, in the Phoenix we are first time. Our Phoenicians are tried their best to do. Kindly request to excuse if you observe any mistakes. We will definitely make a note of those mistakes today and sure not happen in next mock parliament. Thank you sir. And on behalf of Phoenix, wish you all the best to each and every Phoenicians. All the best. Prashant.
Honorable members, please be seated. One, as we meet together, today's first business is to oath taking. Members to take the oath or affirmation. Secretary General, please.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Srimati Prabhavati, elected from Rajamahendravaram of constituents Andhra Pradesh, will now take oath or affirmation. Take oath or affirmation. So, in which language would you like to take oath? English, please.
Speaker, I hereby do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith to the Constitution of India has been long established, that I will be bear true uphold sovereign and integrity of the India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as a minister for the unity of the people in with the Constitution and the law without fear or favor, affection or ill will. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Girish Tiwari from Hadwar, constituents of Uttarakhand, will now take oath or affirmation.
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
English, please. So, I am Girish Tiwari, having been elected or nominated a number of councillors of states Uttarakhand or the House of the People, do serve in the name of God, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as per law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully discharge deputy upon which I am about to enter. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, as we meet today, it is my sad duty to inform the House of the demise of our Chief Defence Staff. Bipin Lakshman Singh Rawat was an Indian military officer who was a Four-Star General of the Chief Defence Staff of the Indian Armed Forces from January 2020 until his death in a helicopter crash in December 2021. Honorable Prime Minister, please.
I rise to pay my tributes to Mr. Bipin Rawat, whose death deeply marred by all. He served as 57 Chairman of the Indian Armed Officers and as well as 26th Chief of the Army Staff in the Indian Army. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The House may stand in silence while to express our deep sorrow. Honorable members, please be seated.
Speaker, I have pleasure in introducing to you and through you to the House and my colleagues the new ministers, Srimati Prabhavati, the Minister of Human Resources Development. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now the question hour starts. The question number 51. Honorable Minister, please.
Madam Speaker, the Digital India campaigning was launched by the Government of the India to uplift the uses of the technology in India. The objective was to make the services easily available to the citizens centrally by improving its online infrastructure all over the country. The process would be structured to increase internet connectivity to make it digitally empowered. It helps to reach out to the masses and encourage them to use technology in their daily lives. Prime Minister launched the campaign on July 1, 2015. The India with the high-speed internet connectivity. Digital India services across the country, it is necessary to create a strong digital infrastructure. In rural areas of the country, mostly they do not have any electrical network. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any supplementaries, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker. As far no disadvantages could be noted about what we are talking about. However, the initiative we are lack of legal framework, absence of privacy, data protection laws, lack of parliamentary oversight for e-surveillance in India, hacking poses a threat to digital transaction. However, adopting safe cyber security solution, we can curb this problem too. Many poor people do not have bank accounts. Although the Jan Dhan scheme launched by the government succeeded in bringing millions into the banking system, the scheme is not completed and the many of accounts are non-functional. The government has to rectify this problem and have to bring poor and marginalized section into the banking system. Many people don't know how to control the online payment method. Even card holders also considering cash is the best transaction method and fast and easy to transaction. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, you have not been given the permission to speak.
Madam, while promoting digital payments, care is used to guard against the cyber threats. The Union Cabinet recent decision to earmark 2,600 crore for bankings to provide 2,600 crores through worldwide accepted method cash. The Reserve Bank of India Payment Vision 2025 observes that economic faster development and financial stability while supporting the financial inclusion. There is no two views that the rapid and widespread adoption by the digital payments. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now the question number 101. Honorable Minister, please.
Speaker and all respected ministers who are attended here in the mock parliament. Inflation is and has been highly demanded phenomenon in economics. Even the use of the word inflation has different meanings in different countries. Many economics, business people and politicians are maintaining that moderate inflation levels are needed to drive consumption. The Federal Reserve of typically targeted an annually of inflation spending for us, believing that inflation increasing the level price keeps business profitable and prevent consumers from purchasing lower price before purchasing the objects. There are some, in fact, who believe that the modern primary function of inflation they get prevent deflating. Key points about inflation. Inflation describes a situation where prices tend to rise. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any supplementaries, please? As the price of products goes up, money loses its value. For instance, if you keep $1 under your pillow for 10 years, you will not able to buy as much as you could today due to this inflation. If we look at the value of US dollar between 1980 and 2019, we can see that the dollar has lost over half its value. In other words, you can buy half as many goods and services with $1 as you could 30 years ago. So if you store $1,000 under your bed in 1980, it would be worth less than $500 today. As a result of loss of purchasing power, inflation causes consumers to try and find a return on their capital. Rather than leaving money under the mattress or in low interest banks, it incentivizes consumers to try and find a better returns. That the money they had saved over the years will gradually become worthless. At the same time, inflation creates a great pressure on businesses to invest any excess capital. Rising inflation can also negatively impact the growth of bonds. Simply put, inflation is an economic term used to describe prices. 3 ways inflation hurt economy and the consumers. First, less purchasing power. Second, less savings. Third one, loss of goods and services. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You have not been given the permission to speak.
Madam Speaker, I already submitted that copy newspaper to the General Secretary.
Proceed, please.
Risk to growth and investment outlook could risk if price pressure by the high levels, says Indian Central Bank Chief. Taming inflation is the top priority of the South Asian countries. Hence, risk to growth and investment outlook could risk if price pressure by the high levels. The RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das, speaking with uneven organisms with the International Monetary Name Fund (IMF), the RBI chief said that policy challenge in the region have sharpened due to the COVID-19 pandemic and war in Ukraine. Fuel food inflation. Mr. Shaktikanta Das said recent heavy dependence on imports fuel fuels while food is inflation more than 20% during the first 3 quarters of 2022. Apart from inflation, Mr. Shaktikanta Das said reducing the external debt vulnerabilities, focusing on only the high productivities, strengthening security, cooperating on greener economic and boosting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, you have not been given the permission to speak.
Madam Speaker, I already submitted the copy of this newspaper article to Secretary General.
Proceed, please.
Leading from front, India must amplify the views of the global South as President of the G20 Summit. Government Summit for Developing Nations called the Voice of the Global Level G20 event is an extremely important signal. It is also a departure from New Delhi, looking toward the high table of global leadership involving relationship with UNSC P5 and G7 to focusing on the more just views of the world and how the developing world is being affected by the global inequality. In his opening remarks at the virtual summit, over 10 different sessions, Indian representatives of 125 countries of the 134. Fragmentation of international land scope, oil and gas and fertilizers as the result of the Ukraine war, terrorism. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now the question number 16.
Candidate, it aware that representation is less. This bill may disaggregate the optionality to voters. The gender-based seat reservation is unfair because it is discriminatory to men and also disaggregates and democratic right to compete based on gender. While speaking about the empowerment of women, we don't accept the bill principle of reservation in their case equally. There is a proposal 720 seats will be made, 540 will continue such for males and 180 served for women. In certain constitution there will be 2 MPs, one is male MP and another one is female MP. That is a proposal now advanced in certain quarters, which is ridiculous. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any supplementaries, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker. The Parliament studies, India ranks of 149th out of 193 countries. in terms of female representation in the lower of single House of Parliament. It is inexcusable that in a country where humans account for half of population, they have lower of representative 40% of representative and 40% of representative Lok Sabha and 11% of the Rajya Sabha. Is this what we mean when we say India is a democracy? Why are the voice still marginalized even they constitute a sizable proportion of the population? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Gender inequality has a crucial social issue in India for centuries. The census 2011 shows that the child sex ratio is among to be 0 to 6 years of 918 girls per 1,000 boys in India. This statistic speaks for itself and demands the essential and urgent solutions to cause of gender inequality. The discrimination starts from even before the girl child is born. In many instances, she is prevented from being born. The girl child is considered as a burden. She is often the deprived of equal rights and opportunities to lead wholesome childhood and adult life. According to the census 2011, population in India, girls account for 14%, many of whom are engaged in child labor, child trafficking and child marriages. The future of Indian vulnerable girls looks grim as shown by the statistic. 12.15 million are married in India and 8.9 are girls, and the married girls are 3 times that of the boys. There are 223 million child rights in India and 1 or 2 were married before turning 15. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, please.
Yes, Madam Speaker. It is important that in speech and conduct, we do nothing to lower the dignity of the woman. Gender equality. The word gender equality is a united the India, and it is the main branch, and it is act as a main development growth for the development of the Indian nation. And I believe that the need to extend Nari Shakti belongs to a woman, and it gives respect to the woman. And increasing the respect of the woman is act as a main basic pillar to the India's development growth. And I have one request to every citizen of the India. Can we change the mentality of the people towards the women in our daily lives? Is it possible? Unity. Unity in the world is very important. It increases the development of this Indian nation. And it begins with the family structure. The word unity begins with the family structure, and it was coming from the parents. And that is giving without equal importance to the son and the daughters, the word unity will be lost. Family structure is the main thing which was lost the word unity in this world. Unity. It acts as a main and basic structure to this development of the India. If we implement this unity in this present world, it can cause the development of the India very easily. We can easily develop our nation from this developing state to developer state. I want to bring to you Panch Pran, a life blood resources, and for it which it completes the 100 independence of this India. When our India completes its 100 independence, I want to bring the 5 years plan which increases the development of the India. And this acts as a main basic pillar to this development of India, which causes our nation develop easily. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Union government paved the way for transformative reform in school, higher education system by launching new national education policy 29th July 2020. They also renamed 3 Ministry of Education. Previous it was known as NPE. NPE in 1986 National Policy on Education. replaced in 34 years old pillars which are access, equality and accountability. In this new policy, there will be a 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure which compares the 12 years of school and 3 years of Anganwadi preschool. NEP process to change the school academic structure from 10 plus 2 year schooling format to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. The first 3 years you are up school, which consists of LKG, UKG after up school. We go to first class and then after second class. Together these 5 years you are going to foundation of your education. After 3 years, that is the 6 to 8, that will be middle schooling, and finally 4 years, the class from 9 to 12, it's going to be a secondary schooling. Together it's from 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 academic structure. The government aims to make schooling available with every help of NEP of 2020. Approximately 2 crore school students will be able to come back to education institution through this new approach. According to the National Education Policy 2020, this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure will replace the extending of 10 plus 2. This 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure, which corresponds to ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18 years of schooling, and 3 years of Anganwadi, including in this structure. By the year 2030, it will be a mandatory to at least of 4 years BEd degree for joining the occupation of teaching. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
As there is a problematic teacher to student ratio in India, thus introducing mother language for each subject academic institutes is a problem. Sometimes finding a teacher becomes a problem. According to the National Education Policy on 2020, students willing to complete the graduation have to study for 4 years, while they need to complete his or her diploma and degree for 2 years. This is might encourage the people of the leave the course in midway. This is the one major new education policy of drawback. This new increase the number of the students uncomfortable communication in English, thus widening of gap between sections of the society. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
2020. However, there are some points which have received criticism from some sections of the society. The following are the disadvantages of the new National Education Policy 2020. Teaching in the mother tongue will be challenging. Teaching the fundamental subjects in the mother tongue will be a hassle as India has 22 scheduled languages and innumerable dialects. The material course will need to be converted into these languages first, and the requirement of skilled teachers to implement this, widening the gap between learners. As the mother tongue is going to be preferred medium of instruction till class 5, the introduction of English after 5th standard in government schools will widen the gap within the private schools that have been providing the education in English since the beginning. Challenge of digital divide. The digital divide is present in the India is even more extreme in the rural areas where not everyone can afford smartphones. The problem is further compounded by the poor infrastructure. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, please.
National educational policy will give the people the strength to be free from this slaveriness. Our India was under the control of the British before. This is only lack of education. If we are well educated, it is not possible by this time because we are well educated. This national educational policy NEP will help every citizen of the India to act as a literated people and to a strong person. And this national educational policy was approved by the Union Cabinet 2020, which replaces the old national policy on education, which was framed in 1986. This national educational policy was laid emphasis on this skill, which gives the people the main strength to be free from this slaveriness. I hope this national educational policy will give the India and make the India as this global knowledge superpower. And I heard some questions drawbacks. Language system is the main and important thing which was held by the improving of this national educational policy in this world. National educational policy which lays emphasis on this skill session, and these skill sessions are led by a person by using this language system. And this national educational policy is not saying that other languages means English is not good or not unimportant or unimportant. It is just showing and it gives emphasis on these local languages. And this language system is main thing in this national educational policy. Teaching system. Nowadays we have many teachers in this around our India. We have many skilled teachers around our India. We can implement the teaching system around this, and we can also say that our citizens of India may become the tomorrow's leaders of this country and make our nation as a developed country. And this next one is every student has to learn 3 years in their school, 3 languages in their school education system, and 2 out of 3 are the native Indian languages. And these 3 languages made every person, every citizen in the India as a skilled person. And this national educational policy laid emphasis on the skill session. This is not unimportant to every citizen. You can think that, but this national educational policy is very important to this nation. And this national educational policy laid emphasis on the skill session, which makes our Indian as a skilled persons. Nowadays we have so many skilled persons, but lack of employment opportunities. Everyone has been unemployed today. But with this help of this national educational policy, everyone can get the job opportunities with easily and with skilled opportunities. And this national educational policy is a good thing which makes every child to develop our nation. And this, if we implement this national educational policy in our country, this can make our citizens to make our country as a global knowledge superpower. This national educational policy was approved by the Union Cabinet, and I have hope this can make our India as a global knowledge superpower. I hope, Madam Speaker, I answered many questions which was raised by the members. Thank you for your support, Madam, and thank you for your seat cooperation. I request to you to pass the bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Those who are in favor will please say aye.